Hey, Craig.
It's on you, it's all on me. Can't you see? It's on you, it's all on me. You and me, can't you? It's on you, it's on me.
Hey, Craig. Right or wrong, we don't care. Win or lose, we don't care. We don't care. We don't care. We don't care.
Hey, Jeff.
Dude, okay, I know we'll get to this later when we do beers and all that stuff.
I know.
but literally, I almost grabbed that beer. It's in my fridge.
Hey, well, yours is a trapdoor as well, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it's a trap.
All
beer,
right,
but
well, we'll get into
I also
that
have
later. Which
I
one?
also
hold
have
on.
a fresher than fresh in
Which-
my fridge.
Which should? We'll talk about it later. Okay,
This
'cause
this
I
is
might have-
we'll talk about it, but this is the Reginald.
I have that one too. Okay, I could have grabbed that one too. All right, that's never happened,
As Amanda likes to say, we're actually the same person,
dude.
So.
It would have been incredible if we grabbed the same beer without talking about it. But
really
we are
would have
pretty
been.
damn close.
We
Like,
would
I
have been like,
literally-
"Holy shit!"
I just went to Peaks and Pints and picked a bunch of fresh hot beers up, and so this whatever. Okay,
Yeah.
this is
Well, you saw my
podcast.
picture of my haul from Rainier Growlers, so like
I
was
did not
like,
actually.
Oh,
I
you
have
didn't?
not been-
Oh, I put it in the
I
Slack
have not
channel. I
been
put
on the Slack.
there are 8 pints and a pint bottle, a Russian River. So, yeah, I went shopping at Rainier Growlers. Rainier Growlers and Peaks and Pints do not pay us for a sponsorship. I promise you. We are just like that's where we go. So,
Yep. Yeah. So awesome stuff. Yeah. This is Podcast versus Everyone, episode
Hey.
239. I'm Craig Powers. With me, as usual, is Jeff Newser. Jeff, like,
what's up, buddy?
before we get into, we're in a good mood. There's lots of reasons to be in a good mood,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I want to get into, what we should always do up top. We're very bad at is promoting ourselves. So Jeff, how can people, if they really want to support us,
Yeah.
how could they support us?
Definitely the thing we are worst at. So, hey, if you love the podcast and you want to support us, easy things you can do. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter, podcastversuseveryone.com. You just sign up with your email address. That'll get you 3 pieces of content. Pretty much every week you'll get the podcast, of course. I do a column on Monday called The Monday After, where I talk about the football game. And then I do a preview, a game day guide on the weekend. Part of that game day guide is reserved, so I kind of give the nuts and bolts up top, and then the rest of the analysis is reserved for our premium subscribers. So if you're interested in being a premium subscriber, you can also do that, podcast versus everyone /upgrade. And folks, I got a great deal for you. Craig doesn't even know about this yet. I have set it up where you can do a 30-day trial. Your first 30 days are on us. Join it, and here's why I'm doing it, because we have like an incredible retention rate with people who do have the premium subscription. Like, we've got over 100 paid subscribers. We've probably only lost over the year and a half that we've been doing this. We've probably only lost actually 5 subscribers. Everyone else has just kept paying that whole time because they enjoy what we're doing. So come check it out. Like I said, first 30 days on us. We'll get you in the Slack. You'll see what it's all about, and you'll probably love it. So go ahead and sign up there. If you're watching us on YouTube, please click the subscribe button. That helps us out a ton. And if you are listening to the podcast on the web, go to your favorite podcast app, subscribe there. Again, those auto downloads really help us out. And if, again, YouTube, also click the like button. That helps a ton.
Yeah.
There we go. Real quick.
And rate. Give us a nice rating too. But yeah,
That too.
now that that's all out of the way, football win, a bigger win than either of us anticipated. Not a perfect win by any stretch of the imagination, but I mean, we both thought it would be a close game. I picked us to lose. By the way, I did not get enough idiot gifts. I had to ask for them. Come on, people.
I know.
Just tell me.
Come on,
if I
Pete.
pick us to lose, send me an idiot gift. But we had a 24, mid 20s, close score. Couldn't trust our defense for anything. And then they come out and just completely shut down Colorado State on offense. Just completely, like it would, just stopping most of what they wanted to do, getting pressure when they had to try to make a comeback, not letting them get anything in the passing game, shutting down the running game.
Yep.
Just all around. What the defense that we thought we had from the first two games
Yeah.
came back.
Yeah.
And it was against, not as good of an air raid as North Texas, but it was against a team running an air raid concept.
Yep.
And they handled it much better. There were some issues setting the edge a few times. That seems to be a weakness. But other than that, those we were able to limit those to no touchdowns or big gains, usually keeping it within 8-9 yards on those carries. So overall, just the big highlight here is the defense. Because after giving up 118 points in 2 games, after going through 6.5 quarters where you don't get a single stop, to come out and give up 3 points, multiple sacks by defensive tackle in a row. Just it was just great to be able to watch a defense that we expected WSU would have after the first 2 games, and it we'll talk about this in a little bit, but obviously gives you a lot more hope for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then Jeff, so I just ranted about the defense for 5 minutes. How are you feeling after Colorado State 20-3
Yeah, I mean,
win?
great. We were watching the game together. Obviously,
Yep.
we were hanging out at Flat Stick in Pioneer Square, watching the game with our good friend Michael Preston and a couple of your friends from T-Town there.
Yep.
And it was exactly what we needed to see. What was kind of weird about it, and I think that, it's funny, like I would expect a game like this where you only give up 3 points, and you mentioned that's kind of where the emphasis is, and I think rightly so, right? You would think that only giving up 3 points would be sort of cause for people to be euphoric, right? Given especially what had been and all those things. I think there's a couple things at play. I think one is because it seems like people are a little subdued about it. To some degree, maybe not as fired up as I might expect. And I think there's kind of 2 things in play there. One is, I think, our trust isn't all the way back yet.
100%. Yeah.
Like you give 2 games of giving up damn near 60 points. I mean, that's going to take a little more than 1 game against a team that honestly has struggled to score all year. Doing a good thing against them. It's going to take a little more than that to win people all the way back. And then I just think the second half kind of, not that the defense had any second half issues, but it was like the offense didn't run away from Colorado State in the second half. And I think that kind of that put a little bit of a damper on how people felt about it, even though obviously that has nothing to do with the defense. And in a lot of ways it was kind of there were kind of like 2 games, one on either side of the half, because it was 20-3 at halftime. If you look at the first half stats, WSU was pretty dominant, for the most part. The yards per play maybe don't totally show it. I mean, the defense gave up 6.1 yards per play. So that's not, dominant, but at the same time, like, Colorado State didn't get in the end zone. They didn't really actually even really come close to getting in the end zone.
Right.
They got 2 field goal attempts. The offense on the other end, 246 yards in the first half. You're on pace for 500 yards. that's 20 points. That's great. You expect that to kind of keep rolling. And then it didn't in the second half. And to me, it felt like, that basically WSU was just kind of managing the game in the second half, which, is not something I super love just because I like my team's aggressive and, I'm like Mike Leach, like run it up, let's go. But at the same time, I think after the last couple of weeks, it kind of made sense, to make sure that none of the stuff from the last 2 weeks kind of crept back in, that you didn't have any risky turnovers. We're not like trying to step on somebody's throat and then all of a sudden throw an interception that sort of flips the field and changes the game. I think the way Jimmy Rogers managed it was pretty smart, even if we would have all loved to, put a couple more touchdowns on the board in the second half.
Yeah, and there was a couple drives late, like their second drive of the third quarter, because Colorado State had a really long drive with no points in the third quarter. Yep. And so they only had, I think, 2 possessions in the third quarter. Their first was a mess.
In the entire second half. 3 in the whole second half.
Okay. So Colorado State or WSU?
Colorado State only had 3 in the whole second half.
Yeah, and WSU must have had 4.
Yes.
But so 2 of those. So the first drive was just a big downer, 3 and out right away, give them the ball back, because you're thinking, all right, get a touchdown here. We are done and dusted.
It's over.
Yep. Even a field goal, even just anything, like any points,
or even just flip the field.
Yeah, even but no, that didn't happen.
Something.
But the second drive and the third drive, they actually did. They came out and pass. Yeah. And there was a couple drops. There was a couple bad throws that kind of mitigated what could have happened. And I think there was an effort in the second half on a couple drives to actually put it away, like actually stretch it out, put it away. It's just harder to accept that sometimes because the drives are so limited, because Colorado State had that like 8-minute drive. And so it's harder to kind of accept that, and then when they're the end, they're just trying to run the clock out, and then their first drive is such a sputter, and they did it on the first drive of the second half, and they do it too much, and it gets frustrating, and it gives this feeling that they are just trying to run control the ground. Is they so often on 2nd and 10. Around second 10, second plus, is run the ball, which is the most frustrating thing. We dealt with this in many a Seahawk Pete Carroll season, where it was like automatic 2nd and 10 run, and they do that so much. They do it on 3rd and 10 a lot too.
Yep.
Especially when Potter was QB. It's frustrating, one, because it's just such a bad move in general, but it's a really bad move when you have this type of running game where it's struggling to get yards. So you're basically saying, like, we're going to 3rd and 8. We're going to 3rd and 7, because you're not taking them by surprise. You're doing it every time. If they watch tape, they see you're going to run on 2nd and 10. And so that's the thing that frustrates me. They did that multiple times. And then you put your quarterback and your offensive line in a bind, and your receivers for that matter. Just put everyone in a bind when it's 3rd and 10, the most obvious of passing downs. And so that's just real frustrating. But overall, like I get why people had the downer, because it would have been you'd felt much better. Honestly, if it was 31-13, I think people would have, or 30-13, I think people would have felt better. If something would have happened, we talked about my friends that were at the game, but they were Cougs. But they were going to the Sounders as well. But they kind of left at halftime because they wanted to go head towards the Sounders and stuff. And they asked me after the game, they're like, "Oh, how'd it go?" And I was like, "It ended 20-3." And they're like, "That's a halftime score." I'm like, "Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. It was."
You would have hoped that they would have kept moving the ball like they were in the first half. Of course, the score would have been higher if not for some difficulties catching the ball on a couple of occasions.
Yeah.
Especially by one of WSU's best receivers who dropped not one but 2 touchdowns.
Yes.
And then another real nice, a deep ball from Zevi that was kind of unfortunate, but probably should have been caught, and another kind of post corner route that probably should have been caught. So there's just stuff where, yeah, this could have looked even better if some of those things happened. Also, not to just put it all on receivers, Zevi absolutely had Ellison for a 75-yard touchdown on like a 3rd and 10.
Mm-hmm.
If he throws the ball earlier. I know you mentioned, we both talked about that. Like he was late and he just didn't give Ellison a chance to. I think that might have been when he hit Ellison, but the corner had caught up. By then.
And he had to slow down so much to try and get under.
But if he hits Ellison in stride, because he was he was
it's,
by.
I think
he was
the
by
biggest thing for me
but
about
yeah,
it,
that's they haven't played together that much. So maybe that's part of it. But yeah, I think there was opportunity for more points in this game, and there was some execution issues, for sure. And the run game, while it's the best it's been, it's still, especially with a couple of the running backs, pretty consistent. But it was mostly buoyed by there was a couple big runs, and Kazevi had some nice runs. But overall, the run game still, you would hope that they could run the ball a little better on Colorado State. But they didn't get totally shut down like they did against Idaho, like they did against San Diego State. So that's some positivity. And Leo Pulalasi, who we were talking about, a guy from the team last year, which is so exciting when a guy from the team last year
I've heard of that
does
guy.
something. And yeah, I've heard of that guy. Had a real nice run as well. But yeah, they obviously mix the backs a lot. They're trying to find something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, how do you feel about them mixing the backs that way? Because sometimes, I mean, on the one hand, I want to be like, yeah, I kind of get it, right? You keep everybody fresh. But I also think there is a little something to getting a rhythm as a runner and maybe figuring out where some of those soft spots are. And their insistence on running out 4 guys. Sometimes I'm thinking like, and maybe it's just a little more complicated than I'm giving it credit for, because, obviously Angel Johnson is sort of the elephant in the room on this front, right? Because he was the guy who was the big, recruiting win. He had opportunities to go elsewhere, for his final season. And so, maybe, there's this sense that, they owe him the chance to prove himself or to play or to get touches. But sometimes just like, man, it's like he's clearly honestly the 4th of 4 when it comes to the effectiveness of the running backs. And yet they're still sort of dividing the touches where it's like, I don't know, 40%, him and Voorhees, and then like another like 10% to, Pulalasi and Woods. And so it's a little frustrating that they're going about it that way. I do wonder to some degree if they might have more success if they tightened it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But also, like, I don't know, like I said, maybe there's some more there where they feel like they owe it, to Johnson, or that, maybe they just believe so strongly in him. But I don't know. You're running out 4 guys, and I don't know how effective that is, but, at least this weekend they had some success to at least be a credible threat. And I think that was kind of the key. I just think that's the key overall, right? And that's maybe if Jimmy Rogers, had his druthers, like the running game would be dominant. But as, you and I, people who, have loved the air raid and continue to love the air raid and continue to love that kind of philosophy, like, honestly, the key there was always, like, the running threat just had to be credible. Like, it had to be, okay, if you're not going to, if you're going to sell out to stop the pass and put a whole bunch of guys in the pattern, then we're going to be able to rip off a chunk, a 7-8 yard chunk if you do that. So don't do that. And up until this point, the running game hadn't been able to do that. On this weekend, they could, be credible. And I think that made, a pretty fair amount of difference. And, like we said, the offense overall, wasn't great in terms of, the number of points it actually scored, the number of yards it actually gained. But, as you pointed out, mistakes really kind of, bit them in the butt, and they left a lot of meat on the bone. And, I guess there's two ways you can look at that. You can go, well, geez, we left a lot of meat on the bone there. Or we could say, well, we fairly easily handled a future conference opponent without playing anything close to a perfect game on offense. And it really didn't matter, so, and when it came down to it, and I don't want to also, I don't want to, poo-poo that final drive either. You brought that up. I mean, we ran the last 7 minutes off the clock on that last drive. Now, you and I were walking into the Sounders, so I wasn't paying super close attention.
Yeah.
But that's what happened. Colorado State had 3 long drives on which they got 0 points. So they had 3 drives in the second half. First drive, 13 plays, 63 yards, 6 minutes, 19 seconds. Turn it over on downs. Second drive, 10 plays, 40 yards, 4 minutes and 22 seconds. Turn it over on downs. Last drive, for the life of me, I can't figure out why they kicked a field goal, but whatever. 15 plays, 54 yards, 5-10. Of course, that ends up with a blocked field goal. So, Colorado State, just everything was so fucking hard for them. And then to turn it over to us with 7 minutes left, and then probably thinking like, hey, WSU, all their drives, 2 to 3 minutes, basically. Okay, we'll get the ball back. It'll take a miracle. But, honestly, that's probably what they were thinking with the field goal attempt, right? Yeah, maybe we can get 2 more possessions out of this deal if we hit the field goal. And then we, take all 7 minutes off the clock at the end. And so that definitely sort of tamped down some of the statistical, gains in the second half. So, I think all told, that second half, I think you just kind of got to look at it as a separate, it's kind of a separate deal. And just make your peace with the fact that, hey, man, you had a 70-point lead the whole way. It was never in doubt. It was never really threatened. Colorado State never really came close to scoring a touchdown in the second half, which is really the only thing that might have changed, sort of like the game flow, the game state.
Yeah.
I can't be anything but really, really happy. And knowing that, hey, we're heading into a bye, lots of opportunity for teaching heading into 2 really, really tough games for us. Given where we were 2 weeks ago, where we were sort of invoking the W word, this is a far cry from that. And for that, you put it all around, really, really happy.
Yeah. And, as you mentioned, while we were watching, Colorado State was moving its way a little bit down the field early, and I think it was the first drive even, and you kept saying if it's this hard for them to move the ball, they're not going to score a touchdown, and they didn't, and that was indicative of the rest of the game. They just had such a hard time. Yeah, they had to. Well, no, it was the first drive of the second half. That's what you kept saying. If it's this hard, because what was happening is they kept converting third downs because their quarterback, we'd vacate the middle, and their quarterback, who wasn't entirely, super athletic, but he still could run enough to make us pay. But that's what they needed. And then towards the end of that drive, they kind of set him up for that, and were able to get, basically sack him. And so, yeah, it was that's the only way they could move the ball many times, was just because letting the quarterback take 7 yards. And so that was encouraging. Obviously they, especially because they corrected it mid-game. That was nice too. But yeah, I'm genuinely more encouraged than I was last week. I still like you said, there's that trust level where you're it all could, fall apart if things don't go right. But yeah, that, and I have no illusions of thinking this means we're going to compete with Ole Miss. No. But
I don't think so.
But yeah, but at least like you said, a future conference opponent. They've now played 2 teams who will be in the Pac-12 next year, and they have just like easily beaten both of those teams.
Mhm.
And that's encouraging to know that we are in a better place than them. No matter where we think we are, we're in a better place than them. And that's positive moving into when we're going to be competing with them for conference positioning and conference titles next year. So that's positive, and that's something to hang our hats on, and also just that the defense still shows it can play. And then, yeah, maybe it wasn't as satisfying as a win as it could be when it was 23 at halftime, and you're thinking, okay, maybe they could really blow this one open. It just didn't work out, and hopefully, they can get through these next 2 games. I am not expecting a win in either one, but get through relatively healthy.
Yeah.
And, let's just say they're 3-4. They have some, they have, I would say, at least 4 solid, very winnable games down the stretch to try to get to the 6 wins, potentially get to 7 wins. However you want to do it. I think James Madison is also going to be a low-key, really tough game on the road because they're flying all the way across the country for that one
I think
as well.
that's the toughest one of the last 5.
Well, that's people should downplay because James Madison has been a pretty good program since they've come to FBS.
Since they jumped up. Yep.
So yeah, like so I would they're solid potential like top 50 team. So that's always going to be tough on the road, even if you're a top 20 team.
Especially on the road all the way to
all the way across the country. 2 trips to Virginia this year. 2 trips to Virginia.
Not ideal, especially if you're not in the ACC.
Yeah.
So.
If you're in the ACC, no problem. But yeah, so overall, glad they won. Feeling better. Glad I got to watch with you, and we're all mad before we went to the Sounders.
I know that would have been rough.
Yeah, but yeah, that was nice. We had a good time in Flat Stick, drinking Old Crimson and Old Crimson cocktail, all the good stuff. But yeah, so one thing I totally forgot to mention. Obviously, we don't have another game to talk about, so we can just talk. No game to preview now. We're not going to preview Ole Miss yet because I don't want to talk about that yet. I don't want to talk. We are happy. We're talking.
Let's
about
be happy.
The Cougs wins. But another thing that was really cool from Apple Cup weekend that I totally forgot to mention last week. I really think it was because it was all the Mariners talk, and I was so Mariner brained, them clinching the AL West like right before we started recording. But I'd meant to talk about last week was something that's really cool. You talked about the podcast Slack, the premium podcast Slack that people seem to really like. People don't give it up. It's the main benefit I would say the main benefit of the premium subscription. Jeff does write some things, but the thing that people love
Thanks,
is this
Craig.
premium is that you're welcome, Jeff. The thing that people love is this community that we now have of Cougs. And it was really cool when we went to Pullman for the Apple Cup. As we had mentioned before, we had this kind of hotel that many, many, many of our podcast members at the Quality Inn booked because we found a good deal a long time ago, and I shared it in the Slack, and a lot of people booked it, and Quality Inn honored all those rates. And so we had a lot of people. It was just the whole weekend, seeing Seth and Rick and Kyle and Jen. Got to meet Jen. That was so cool. And Jen's family and Seth I had met before, and his girlfriend, and getting to see them again at the Coug and tailgating and everything. Tailgating with Rick and his friends, and then just a lot of just good times. Like it felt really like, wow, like they were all of y'all spending time together was so cool. Like you were making a point to spend time together, and that made me feel really cool. I don't know, like as like I guess the people that
Well, yeah, I mean,
started
these
this
are people
community-
that had only met because of the Slack, right? Like they only
Yeah.
knew each other because of this little community that that has come together here. And I mean, I'd love to sit here and have us take all the credit, but honestly, just like we just sort of like facilitated this thing, and cool people talk to each other. And I mean, it was fun for me. I wasn't there, but it was fun for me to watch on the Slack channel that was dedicated to you guys, like coordinating all your meetups. And I'm like following along, and everybody's like, "Where are we going next? Coug? We meeting at the Coug? All right, everybody's going to the Coug." So, nope.
Yep.
The Coug line's out the door and around the block. We're going to Rick's tailgate. So it was really cool for me too.
Yeah, and it was really cool after the game. They all took over the lobby, and they had set a cooler of beer, and that was really, really, really fun. I came down later. I was just kind of beat, and I was just drinking the corked bottle of wine of Old Crimson wine, which I will say, corked bottles happen. There's not even the greatest wineries in the world. It happens more often than you think. I sent an email to Bledsoe Family Winery that, hey, I opened my first bottle of Old Crimson wine, and the cork disintegrated, and the wine tasted off. And they said, hey, we're really sorry. That happens sometimes. And they literally responded with like an hour and a half, and already sent me bottle. It's like coming tomorrow. Like they were that quick in responding. So yeah, if truthfully, that is something that happens. If a bottle of wine tastes off to you and the cork seems a little off, don't be afraid to reach out, especially when it's a nicer wine, like Bledsoe Family Wine or Double Back or whatever. But they're really cool, Coug business with the Old Crimson wine and really good customer service. So I'll have another bottle. I don't even have to worry about, I spent $45 on that bottle of wine and it was just a waste. No, we get to try it again. So really excited about that. But yeah, so my wife and I powered through that, and then I went down. I was going up to the Logan's tailgate after to kind of not everyone was in the best of shape, dealing with losing to the Huskies, but so but we went up to hang with them, and Rick gave me a ride and hung out with them too, and it was just cool to have. We just had this like community everywhere we went, and it's people that some of the people I did, Rick I knew a little bit before the Slack, but definitely feel much, know him better. Seth I didn't even know at all, and I've already went to an emo concert with him, and but and Jen I didn't really know. I think I knew her Twitter account a little bit, but we love Jen. Jen's like the MVP of the Slack. I think no one would disagree with that. But it was really cool to meet her and her family, and just cool to meet everyone. And what a nice benefit of this podcast that we do. Like it's like just to have, a built-in community that we get to have as well. Cause I'm a big community guy. I love community, and I have communities everywhere I go, and just to have another one here is it's awesome. Love it.
Yeah. Well, so I think what Craig's really saying is that we do all this stuff so we can have some friends. I think that's the moral of the story here. Coug Center back in the day, podcast versus everyone. We do the podcast so that people still want to be around us and talk to us about the Cougs, and it works. Apparently, it's working. So we're just going to keep doing it.
Yep. Just keep trying to, we just have to work to make people be friends with us.
Yeah.
But appreciate y'all in the Slack, in the community.
Yes.
It was awesome. It made the Apple Cup weekend overall good, I would say. It's always good to be in Pullman. I said I was like 2:30 in the morning walking back from the Coug, and I did this like Instagram story drunk, and just said like, as I get older, it was something like as I get older, like the the experience matters more than the outcome of the game. And then
Yep.
Pullman always has just like the greatest experience. And that was especially true for that weekend. But yes, so we had time to talk for that because we didn't have to preview a game.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
And by the way, we might have another meetup type weekend for Louisiana Tech. A lot of people talking about going over that one. I'm going to try to. Hopefully, Sarah's not listening to this because I'm going to try and work that out for us to go over that one because there's basketball, basketball. Is it soccer or volleyball, and then football? It's one of those two. So it's like four games Friday, Saturday. So pretty good.
Yep.
Pretty good deal.
Yeah. I have to think about that because it is. Well, no, I would have to talk Amanda into having B's birthday the week after, and not the week before.
We've gone over this before, man. Have it in Pullman. Just have it in Pullman.
That, yes,
I guess her friends can come.
Take my kid that could be easily overstimulated.
Yeah.
Wazoo games and just be like,
Well, when she was smaller,
I took her on a weekend like this last year, and she got real happy just wearing her her earbuffs everywhere.
Yeah, I bet.
So I don't know if that's the ideal weekend for her birthday, but
just tell her that Sarah and I will be there, and she'll be thrilled, and that'll be it. We'll be good.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll tell Amanda that.
Just run that by her like that. Problem solved.
Yeah. But yeah, it'd be awesome that all the game that's the equivalent of like the weekend I went to last year when I took her to men's and women's basketball games and a volleyball game and a football game. So that that is the ideal. You love when it works out like that. Not to mention, it's the UW basketball game.
Yep.
For the men.
Yep.
So it's a pretty big weekend, and hopefully a team that we can beat in football.
I hope so.
Everyone looks. We were talking about this in Slack. Everyone's looking better than we expected. Like Toledo apparently is decent, and Louisiana Tech's looking okay. Like I don't. At least Oregon State doesn't look very good, but whatever, dude. Although we talked about they're probably better than their record.
They're probably better than their record. So
yeah. So
that's for another day, though. But right now, we're just gonna be like Oregon State sucks. We're gonna win all these games and go to a bowl game. That's I'm calling it. I'm calling it now.
When was the okay? So is this has got to be true. Bill Dubba must be the only WSU coach to go to a bowl game in his first season.
I would think that's probably true.
Yeah. I'm just gonna not even fact check that. I'm gonna say Bill Dubba is the only.
Yeah, I mean that makes
WSU football coach to go to a bowl
the
game in his
nature
first
of
season.
The way bowl games have changed. Like it used to be really, really hard to go to a bowl game.
I guess Dickert did.
Did he? I mean, does that count? I guess that counts because his first full season.
Was it his first? Well, he went in his first. He went when he took over. We didn't go in 23, did we? Well, didn't he miss? He missed 1 year, or did we go in 22?
Yep. Yeah, Fresno State in 22. So
it was
I guess
20.
he did. I guess
23. So he did too. Damn it.
Yeah, he did. He did. Sorry, that's Jake Dickert erasure. Sorry, man.
Well, that was
as much
it was
as you
pretty
want
fun.
to. You can't erase history, Craig.
It was pretty fun watching Wake Forest blow a massive lead in the second half. If you're worried about only holding a 20-3 lead, well, you could completely lose that 20-3 lead and
it's true.
Lose in overtime.
It is true.
But yeah. I guess his September magic ain't what it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, it was the last weekend in September, so maybe it was just kind of getting a little weaker. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hate watching was fun. It was a good weekend for hate watching. It was a very good weekend for hate watching.
It was. We were smiling the whole way up on the bus up to Seattle because we were watching the Husky game on our phones. And it was like, yeah, we were excited. And then the funny part was, so we were like, Ohio State was like only marginally ahead, right, going into the fourth quarter or whatever.
Like 17-6.
Yeah, kind of like, so 11 points, kind of like we were the week before.
Oh no, it was 14-6. It was 14-6.
Okay,
that's right. So they were within a
within a
possession or
touchdown,
whatever.
right? And it was one of those things where it was like, man, they're actually not close. And I was like, haha, it's gonna be so funny when all the Husky fans are like, we were so close, a week after they sort of like made fun of us for thinking maybe we were sort of close heading into the fourth quarter. And as it turned out, yes, there were lots of Husky fans who were all too willing to say that they were right there. In fact, one of them writes for the Seattle Times and decided to, put down in writing in the paper of record in Seattle that Washington proved they belonged in scoring 6 points against Ohio State at home. At home. So
in front of
to make of that what you will.
Prove they belong also in their stadium.
Yes.
There was at least as many, if not more, Ohio State fans.
So much red.
Like, that was nuts.
Like all the people who sell their sell their tickets at Seahawks games also like were like apparently the same people selling their tickets to Husky games. So
that was wild to see. Like it was because we talked about we begrudgingly say like that place is tough to play.
It is
when it is on full tilt.
When it's full and it's on tilt, it's tough.
Full tilt when there's half of the stadium is Buckeye fans, and they're gonna get you. That's just something for them. That's like the new reality. Teams are gonna, it's gonna all the transplants out here, plus people making it their trip because maybe they've never been to Seattle or whatever.
It's gonna be like Seahawks
be a regular
games.
thing.
It's gonna be like Seahawks games, where it's their one chance to see their team play in Seattle, and by golly, they're going to gobble up those secondary market tickets, and they'll pay a premium for them. And then the people who own these tickets are like, I mean, I could pay for my season tickets just by selling this one game.
Well, yeah, and with
away you go.
with how there's so many teams in the league, it's only going to be like, Ohio State probably won't come back to Washington for like 6-7 years, so.
Yeah,
there's still going to be like novelty and so. But yeah, I did not catch that they belonged. But hey, we scored the same amount of points on UW's defense as Ohio State.
You're damn right.
Never mind the amount of possessions that Ohio State got.
I don't care. I mean, details like that do not bother me. We scored the same amount of points as the number one team in the country. So, I mean, basically, we're as good as they are, sort of. At least offensively. Our offense is as good as Ohio State's offense. I'm just going to throw that out there.
So true.
It's true.
So true.
Craig. We love stats.
Statistically proven.
And we love numbers, and you cannot argue with facts, man. The fact is we scored the same number of points against Washington as Ohio State did.
You're here in the podcast versus everyone Fact
that.
Center. Nothing
That's
but
right,
facts here on the podcast versus everyone Fact Center.
Cannot argue with that. So
welcome back to the podcast versus everyone Fact Center.
Let's talk beer, dude.
9:53 in the morning. 74 degrees here in our fair city. Jeff, what the fuck are you drinking?
Well,
sorry, FCC.
As we covered on the at the beginning of the show, I am having my first can of Fresh Hop. Now, I did have a Fresh Hop when we were up at Flat Stick. I had the Stemma, I forget what it's called, but it was a Stemma Fresh Hop. It was good. That was good. So I went to Rainier Growlers today and loaded up on some freshies here, and I got this Trapdoor Brewing, the Reginald. It's this very refined looking gentleman with a hop for a head. And I'm going to be honest, I almost grabbed the one that you grabbed, the Fresher Than Fresh. And then I was just like, I kind of love this can. And I'm like, I'm a huge believer in you absolutely can judge a book by its cover. in my classroom, I tell students when they go to the library, they should judge a book by its cover because the design is like, it's sort of like, conveys some of the meaning of what you're about to get. So in this case, I kind of love this, this refined looking, I'm assuming gentleman here with his, his nice little smoking jacket and his little glass of beer and this gorgeous hop head, and then all the green, of course, for the fresh hop. So we got the green and gold. I don't know, just a really cool looking can design. The beer is good also. It's a West Coast style fresh hop IPA, which of course we love those. By the way, this is a joint collab with Tap Room and VGF. I do not know either of those, but maybe you do. And it's a good way to kick off my my fresh app. This is, by the way, a dank collab with our buds at Taproom and VGF, and all Columbus fresh hop IPA that delivers big on citrus, resin, and fruity flavors. Getting lots of the resin, lots of that West Coast sort of flavor to it. Nice beer. Very much enjoying it. How about you, man?
Yeah, I don't know what Taproom and VGF are, but
something down Oregon, I assume.
So Trapdoor is definitely kind of one of the more underrated and low key great breweries in Washington. I've had so much good beer from them. They're in Washougal, which I never knew was a town until I met a kid from Washougal.
Oh, dude, we had a guy in my fraternity from Washougal. I don't know if Brett listens to the podcast, but what's up, Brett? We just call him Washougal.
What's
up, Washougal?
I don't remember what the guy's name was that was from Washougal. I forgot.
Well, it's funny. He's like, we were like, "Where's Washougal?" And he's like, "Next to Camas." And I'm like, "Where's Camas?" It's a little bit east of Vancouver.
They should just say near Vancouver.
Now I'm okay. Now I'm
Southwest
near Vancouver.
Washington.
Yes,
they have the
now
longest
I have
drives.
a frame of reference.
They had the longest drives. It was like
they do. They got to drive all the way
them.
along the Columbia and before they can go north through Walla Walla.
The Trapdoor. I actually, for a long time, thought they were in Vancouver, but they're actually from Washougal.
Yeah, don't you? By the way, I learned that. Don't you dare say, if someone from Washougal, you don't say you're from Vancouver, man. They're from fucking Washougal. You don't mess around with that.
Yeah,
learned
exactly. Mine also has a really cool can. Pink dog wearing sunglasses, looking dope, fresher than fresh. A lot of 90s kind of imagery going on here and coloring. This is also this is fresher than fresh hop West Coast IPA. I'm always gonna go for that. But this is a collaboration with Taps Reserve. What Taps Reserve, which I looked up, is a beer bar in Ridgefield, Washington, which used to be primarily known for the amphitheater.
Yes, but now is known for In-N-Out.
Now is known for being the first In-N-Out in Washington. And I looked, and Taps is not far from In-N-Out. So you can get some In-N-Out and get yourself down to Taps Beer Reserve.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like I've seen the sign for, now I'm looking at it. I think they have, like, they're like on like the signs when you're for the exit. It's probably same exit you take for the amphitheater. I've never been to that amphitheater.
Like Ridgefield's crazy, man. So like we went down there. We actually bought something off Facebook Marketplace or something down there. We bought an e-bike for Joshua. Like the thing about Ridgefield is like, man, that place is fucking like blowing up. Like they are building houses like at an insane rate down there. So like all that stuff is going up, and including the In-N-Out. So yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
Well, it's like the Vancouver has been blowing up because it's like, it's just a huge suburb of Portland, and then it's just extending out farther. But yeah, it was good. I don't know what I was saying now. My train of thought.
Well, you were talking about your beer.
Yeah, the beer is good.
Is it good?
It's actually very good. It's yummy. It's exactly what a fresh hop West Coast IPA should taste like and smell like. And Trapdoor, check them out. You know, they usually most bottle shops around Puget Sound will have them. Most of you who listen to us live in that general area, I think. But yeah, they have a cool logo. It's like a T. Yeah, and they have cool cans, which obviously Jeff and I were attracted to buying them cans. But yeah, beer. Woo!
Woo, beer.
All right, other sports. Welcome to the not football sports section of, as we say on the Slack, the Olympics. The Olympic sports.
Yes.
Which confuses the hell out of some people.
Yes.
But it's nicer than saying non-revenue. Because
I guess that's true.
nice.
Non-revenue is a little, it's a little bit of a wonky term for sure. It's like it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue.
Well, we had the soccer team last time, the night we recorded, I think we talked about how they dropped 4 in the first half on Seattle U.
Yes.
But then they hosted Santa Clara, who we thought would be a tough one, and they lost 2-1. They lost on Socktoberfest, which is such a shame.
Now,
to
Craig,
lose on
I gotta ask you a
Socktoberfest.
question. I gotta interrupt to ask a question. Have you read the recap that WSU's sports info person wrote about this game?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, I have to
What?
read. Okay,
Okay.
I'm going to read this
Okay,
for you.
I'm excited.
Okay, I need you to hear this. I need everyone to hear
Okay.
this. Now,
Oh my God.
I understand. Okay, so just to sort of preface this, like I am well aware that probably the vast majority of the people listening to this or watching this do not make it a habit to read the recaps that the sports information department writes about the various games. I do, because I get all the emails, and so I read them, try to keep up with the teams, things like that. Don't get to watch as many games as I'd like to. There's a certain tone to, so I'm an English teacher, right? So, I recognize things like tone. There's a certain tone that is very typical for these things. They tend to be very positive. I mean, let's be honest, the sports information department is really kind of a PR arm of the athletic department. Yes, they're trying to be accurate, but positivity is sort of the name of the game for them. They tend to be very sort of, very euphemistic in the way that they write, where they will, sort of soft pedal maybe some controversial things, or, if the Cougars do something that's just bad, they'll try to figure out a very soft way to say it, things like that. So there's a very sort of PR flavor to the way they write. Okay. So this one is the one that they wrote after the Santa Clara game. So here we go. The Washington State women's soccer team lost to the Santa Clara Broncos 1-2 Saturday night at Lower Soccer Field. The Cougars scored the opening goal less than 1 minute in the second half, but 5 bookings, including 2 red cards, led to a comeback win for the Broncos. All right. WSU controlled most of the opening period, controlling passes through the midfield and into the attacking third. The Cougs delivered 7 first-half shots and put several dangerous crosses into the Broncos' penalty area, forcing 2 saves. Santa Clara took 6 shots, with most first-half chances coming from outside the box. Now, I'm going to pause here and say this is pretty typical for the tone of these sort of recaps. All right, continuing on. Less than 55 seconds into the second half, redshirt senior Jordan Young scored the opening goal for WSU. Freshman Isabel Wright pressured the SCU backline, stealing possession from a defender before playing Young at the far post for the goal. In the 46th minute, Young netted her second goal as a Coug and third career goal. Wright earned her team-leading third assist. Okay, all good so far. Redshirt senior goalkeeper Zora Standifer defended the Cougar lead in the 54th minute, coming off her line to collect a through ball and hold on to possession with a Santa Clara foot stuck in. Standifer would be shown red in the 69th minute on a similar play. Standifer came off her line to collect the ball at the top of the box, slipping as she grabbed the ball and rolled out of the goal box. The referee ejected Standifer with a red card for denial of a goal-scoring opportunity, judging the senior to have handled the ball outside the penalty area. After video review, the red card was rescinded, only to be reinstated after a conversation with the Santa Clara technical staff. True freshman Sydney Vinier was called upon to make her career debut and 4 saves in the final 21 minutes. The Broncos were awarded a penalty kick in the 74th minute, equalizing the game from the spot. Playing down a body, the Cougars defended for the remaining quarter hour. Santa Clara broke through for the game-winning goal in the 83rd minute off a cross from the left side. If you don't get the vibe, you can tell that the sports information guy here, this is Jim Crawford, fairly astonished at the sequence of events that led to WSU having their goalkeeper sent off, and then not sent off, and then sent off again after the referees talked with Santa Clara's coaches.
Wow.
I did not watch the game. I wish I had.
That's impressive. That is about as much sauce as you could put into one of those recaps.
That truly, you got those of you listening, you're gonna have to take it from us. This is as close as an SID person will come to straight up saying this was fucked up and we got screwed.
Yeah. Oh man, that
I was absolutely dying reading it. I was like, wait, what? And then I'm just like, oh my God, this guy is trying so hard to say we got totally fucked and he can't say it, right?
Oh man.
I was dying. I was absolutely dying. So we can look at this one of two ways, right? I'm going to look at it this way. I'm going to say, okay, we look at it as super missed opportunity. Santa Clara, always one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the WCC. Losing to Santa Clara really fucking blows, especially when you got a chance to beat them and you lose like that. Okay. But the other side is we've been worried about the soccer team for quite a while. They seem to have turned a bit of a corner here, dropping 4 goals on Seattle U, a WCC team. Really having a lead here against Santa Clara and only having that disappear with what appears to be, some pretty controversial decisions. And by the way, college soccer refs are really kind of shitty just in general, very inconsistent, kind of a mess. And so, this kind of thing happens. I'm going to choose to believe the soccer team maybe has turned a bit of a corner here, and really legitimately playing better to the point where, perhaps they maybe can make a push for a WCC title, which would be great given where we've been the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's it'd be really nice. It sucks that they had some bad luck in this match, but yeah, to hold the line for that long, even though you were down a person and down your top keeper, it's really tough to have to sub your keeper. It's not like if you're like a professional soccer watcher, there are not limited subs, or you can't sub. If someone comes out, they could come back in. It's not it's not the same substitution system that there is in professional soccer.
They got free subs.
Still, if the keeper is sent off, you have to put in your backup keeper. There, you have no other choice. We've seen where the Sounders, where the keeper got sent off, and Alex Roldan,
they were out of subs.
Left back.
Yep,
had to play keeper. But you're not going to be out of subs in college. So they could handle that better. But still, just to be
still had to take off a 11. Field player.
Yep. Yeah, 10 versus 11. You're just when they had taken the lead and have a chance to have a huge win against, like you said, like a top team in the league. That's rough, but you know what? Yeah, it's early in the conference season, and there's a long way to go. And yeah, maybe they're good. Maybe they're good again. It's been a few years.
We'll find out. You and I will probably. So they play San Diego on Saturday at 4:00. So you and I will probably watch that on the bus on the way up to the Sounders for the Sounders Timbers matchup this
Well,
weekend.
I don't know. I probably will not be riding the bus with you because I'm going to the Mariners that same day.
That's right. Oh, well,
So I assume that the Mariners will be earlier in the day.
yeah.
And so I will be.
That's probably true. We'll
I'll-
have to meet up.
I'll meet you at Flat
Okay.
Stick
Okay.
after. Hopefully the Mariners go up 1-0.
We'll be celebrating the Mariners, and then celebrating a win over the Timbers. Finally,
Yeah,
I hope
that would be great at home. When's
That
the
would
last
be
time
great.
That happened? It's
It'd
been
be
a while.
fucking great for that to
It's
happen.
been
Finally.
many ages. Literal ages have passed.
I know.
But yeah. So, Jeff, it is not easy just to figure out what's going on with the tennis team. Like, you have to sift through recaps. They hosted the Cougar Classic. There isn't like a schedule that shows results.
It's true.
You have to like go through all the and like you said, everything's written. Like, Cougar Classic ends with pair of WSU wins. Okay.
Yep.
Like, did they win overall? What's going on? I think that they beat Eastern. Like how a lot of tennis matchups go in college is like you have like say 7. You have 7 matchups, and like basically if a team wins 4, then they won. Like they won that thing. And but with this Cougar Classic, it's a little bit harder. But I can say cross country, they have like made it easier. So they played like Cougar Classic on September 12th, men first, women first. The Gans Creek Classic, probably in Missouri, it's pronounced something weird. Gons or something.
Yeah.
The men were 15th and the women were 9th. I do not know out of how many teams that was.
I don't know. I have no idea.
And then let's see. We're really going deep. What's volleyball doing?
Volleyball's got 3 wins on the trot, my man. Tied for first place in the WCC right now.
Let's go.
Hell yeah. Just came off of a 5-set victory over Santa Clara, so that was pretty killer. 3-0 sweep of USF in their WCC opener, and now they got Seattle U and Gonzaga coming up this week. Seattle U, I don't know anything about these people. Seattle U looks like they're not very good. Gonzaga 1-1, 8-5 overall, so maybe that'll be a tough match. But that is in Pullman. That's at Boulder on Saturday. So I don't know if you're inclined to you're missing some WSU sports without the football team. Get game against Gonzaga, volleyball match at 1:00 on ESPN Plus, and then the soccer match against San Diego's at 4:00. So you can get some of that Cougar sports you're jonesing for.
And the Coug will be open.
That is true.
So Valhalla and all the places you love.
It's true.
Just like, honestly, like, I love a football weekend so much, but going to Pullman on a non-football weekend is amazing. Like, just
It really is.
like, because you can stay in like one of the Marriotts, and it didn't cost $7,000.
Reasonable price.
Yeah, it's like a normal hotel price. And then you go to the bar during the day, or you go get lunch somewhere. It's not packed. You do feel quite old on those weekends going to like the Coug, and the Coug's okay, but if you try to go anywhere else, you're gonna feel pretty old.
Go to the Emporium,
Speaking from
man. You won't
experience.
feel old at all going there.
Yeah, if you just want to, even if you're like 25 and you want to feel old, go to Emporium.
Dear God, when we went there on your bachelor party, I was just sitting there and I'm just thinking, fuck, man, somebody's gonna think I'm a creepo old guy, like hanging out with all the college kids, like, what's this creepo old man doing hanging out here? And I'm like, I'm here for a bachelor party. My buddy's over there, you know.
I'm here for
I was like,
I'm here for
I
a
promise, I'm not a
37-year-old
creeper.
bachelor party. Just a 37-year-old
I'm not a
bachelor
creeper, I
party
promise.
at Emporium in Pullman.
I know.
I wonder sometimes, like, what do the kids think, like, when there's, like, the college kids are like, this dude's having his bachelor party in
Yeah.
Pullman? Like, what?
They
And
probably
how
think
old
we
is
got
he?
kids there, man. They're like,
Probably.
yeah, where your
Well,
kids at?
honestly, if my kids were at WSU, it's probably not where I'd have my bachelor party. I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, but yeah, bachelor party was a good time. That was a
Hell yeah.
basketball weekend, and
It
we
was.
stayed at the Residence Inn.
Yes,
Fine.
it was a great basketball
Residence Inn.
weekend.
It was. That was a great basketball weekend. It had to be because it was my bachelor party weekend. They won it for
Mhm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jeff. It's weird not to have a game to talk about, but we
know.
don't have one. But I guess after all that, all we gotta say is go fucking Cougs.
Wait, I have to start the outro music. Hold on.
So anyways, more talking and such. Let me have a sip of this beer.
Wait, here it comes. Here it comes in. You know, the one thing we didn't talk about, we didn't talk about my hat.
Oh shit, yeah. That is a go fucking Cougs right there. That
if
hat.
you are on YouTube, you
1997.
can see it.
Yeah.
It's a 1998 Rose Bowl hat.
1998
Original.
Rose Bowl.
Original.
It looks,
I got this.
It is really good.
I got this in
It's got the-
1997.
But it's weird. It has the helmet logo from the 2003 Rose Bowl.
Yes.
So they
No,
already had that logo.
Yeah. Yeah, they did it for the hat. So
It's fucking cool. But anyways,
How
yeah,
about that?
Black Lives Matter.
yeah, Black Lives Matter. Join a union or support a union.
Free Palestine.
Get vaccinated.
Get
Stop
vaccinated.
killing children. Knock that shit
Stop
off.
killing children. Portland is not a war zone.
Portland is
Antifa
definitely
is
not
not
a war
a
zone.
group.
Portland is fucking lovely, except their soccer team fucking sucks.
Yeah.
All right, go Cougs.